from Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. I'm going to be telling you what I think about the AGV helmet. Stay tuned. Alright, this is what I really think about these AGV helmets. How good are they? Are they strong? Let's see. Okay, right here and right there. Okay, here we go. No, not really. I think a bit more about them than that. Okay, so what we've got today, we've got two carbon fibre helmets. Where did they come from? AGV, what does it stand for? Well, just a little bit of history. The history is back, let's go back to just after the Second World War, 1947 actually. In 1947, AGV stands for Amisano Gino Valenza. And that Valenza is in Italy. So the founder, his name was Amisano Gino, and he came from a place in a province from northern Italy called Valenza. So that's hence the name AGV. So the logo is the Italian flag, and that's what that stands for. So just a bit of history. But since then a lot's changed. AGV were actually into leather saddles and making seats for bikes. But just after the war in 1947, in the 50s, we had Vespa and we had Lambretta, and they were around, and they were asking Amisano Gino Valenza to make their seats. And so that's how he got started into the motorcycle industry. He was actually an accountant, but he bought rights into the company, and that's how we all started out. And then from there, they started making helmets, or leather helmets and that sort of thing in the 50s, but eventually they got into making proper helmets, which we know today. And first off, they started off with fiberglass helmets, the jet style helmet, the open ones. And I remember back in the 70s, when I was still riding bikes, I was just a little kid then. Then we used to hear of helmets like, not Arai so much, but Bell. Bell were really big when I was a young kid. And AGV, suddenly came onto the scene. It was a fiberglass helmet. I do remember so well. Actually, it wasn't fiberglass, it was plastic. It was the first thermoplastic helmets around in the 70s, and they were competing against a pretty big company, which at that time was Bell. But I remember seeing them as a kid and thinking, wow, they look pretty different. They looked a little bit more modern than the helmets we were used to, which were the Bell and the Bell Star, Moto Star, the famous helmets. But anyway, I'm sort of getting a bit off track now, but from the 70s they progressed through, and they were linked with very famous riders. AGV ended up making helmets and being associated with Giacomo Agostino, Kenny Roberts, the famous Barry Sheen. Who doesn't ever remember Barry Sheen, the famous hooligan racer Barry Sheen? Rest in peace, my friend. And of course, Randy Mamola, Max Biaggi, and of course my favourite and everyone's favourite around the world is Valentino Rossi, which we heard is retiring. Kudos to you, mate. What a racer, what a guy. But anyway, he's the one that further developed these helmets into what they've become today. So around about 2007, AGV were purchased by Dainese. So Dainese is actually the parent company of AGV. And in 2007, they bought into the company and started a new line of production, which was later to become what you see next to me here. So we've got the original AGV Pista here, and then you've got the latest version, which is the AGV Pista GP RR, which is actually my favourite. How cool is it? I've ridden in both of them. I've ridden in heaps of AGV helmets, but these are my favourite. In 2012, this was the first full carbon fibre helmet on the market with this sort of standard. AGV came up with the extreme standards sort of like division of their company, and they started focusing on elite athletes and elite racing, which was like MotoGP. So this is, you know, when they really started to get serious about lightweight, highly aerodynamic, and to have a higher standard and protection for riders. So this is it. This was the end result, and this is the first version. So there's the extreme standards that I was talking about of the company. That's what it was called at that time. So 2012, this is what you got, and it was just, how good is it? I mean, fantastic to ride in, very aerodynamic. The weight is very low. So for this helmet, you're looking at around about 1.4 kilos, about 1,380 grams, something like that. So pretty cool. So that's that version, which came out in 2012. And then next to me here, we've got the latest version. So this one is called the AGV Pista GP RR. And the difference being, they progressed a little bit in its shape. The front of the helmet's actually got a little bit more protection in the more vulnerable areas. As you can see, the spoiler at the back is enlarged and more in line with the back of the helmet, but it's supposed to be a bit of a progression and just a bit better aerodynamically. Once again, it's designed to be in the tuck position. It's a racing helmet. It's quite noisy, but you know, how can you beat that? It's got the highest certification as far as standards are concerned, which is called the FIM, so it can be raced. This can be used in MotoGP races. So it's not only got the ECE 2205, which this helmet next to me has, and the Australian and New Zealand 1698 standard, it also has the FIM, so it's the highest standard helmet in the world. So you'd regard that as being the safest in the world. As I said, these are a little bit different to that first version. And the first thing is, what I found was this back part here, the spoiler section, which is larger on the GP RR, can be interchanged and put onto the older style. So if you happen to have an older style GP Pista helmet, you can get this new spoiler as an accessory from AGV. They look pretty cool and they look heaps better than the older style, and you can put this style of spoiler on the older helmet. But just be aware, even though they are very, very similar, the visors on the new helmets can't be interchanged. It's only the rear spoiler there. So differences, just one other thing that's just come to mind as well, is that the newer helmet, the GP RR, as you can see, it's just absolutely beautiful the way it's manufactured. It's just gorgeous the way they mold that carbon fiber. Just has a bit more of a refined look. Like when you look at the carbon fiber on both of them, it's just excellent. But the manufacturing process in this more modern GP RR, you can see it's just more refined and just better to look at. It's just exquisite. It's what I call divine as far as looks are concerned. But anyway, that's about it. Oh yeah, just one other thing. The GP RR also has these metal vents which look pretty cool. They're really shiny, and yeah, that's why, because they're just metal as well. They've just come up a few notches as far as quality is concerned. So that's why you're paying high prices for these things. They're really, really good. The vents on the front also have these little scoops. I'll quickly get the other one to show you the difference. You can see this is the older style. The vents there haven't got those little intake scoops on the edge there. Hard to see maybe, but that's the difference as well. But just overall, very, very similar. Yeah, either way, you can't really go wrong, could you? So that's about it. This video is just for a short review, really. It's just for 5 minutes or so of your time. We're stuck in lockdown here in Australia, so I thought I'd give you a little bit more insight into my favourite helmets, which is here. I've got a collection of other ones as well, which one day I might even show you. But anyway, smiles, greetings to the rest of the world and wherever you may be from. I hope you really enjoy this, and stay tuned for next time. Bye.